Chapter 38 The Rendezvous. The first words Albert uttered to his friend on the following morning contained a request that Franz would accompany him on a visit to the Count. True, the young man had warmly and energetically thanked the Count on the previous evening, but services such as he had rendered could never be too often acknowledged. Franz, who seemed attracted by some invisible influence towards the Count, in which terror was strangely mingled, felt an extreme reluctance to permit his friend to be exposed alone to the singular fascination that this mysterious personage seemed to exercise over him, and therefore made no objection to Albert's request, but at once accompanied him to the desired spot, and, after a short delay, the Count joined them in the salon. "My dear Count," said Albert, advancing to meet him, "permit me to repeat the poor thanks I offered last night, and to assure you that the remembrance of all I owe to you will never be effaced from my memory. Believe me, as long as I live, I shall never cease to dwell with grateful recollection on the prompt and important service you rendered me, and also to remember that to you I am indebted even for my life." "My very good friend and excellent neighbor," replied the Count with a smile, "you really exaggerate my trifling exertions. You owe me nothing but some trifle of 20,000 francs, which you have been saved out of your traveling expenses, so that there is not much of a score between us. But you really must permit me to congratulate you on the ease and unconcern with which you resigned yourself to your fate, and the perfect indifference you manifested as to the turn events might take." Welcome to Chapter 38. Wowie, wowie, wowie. Folks, I cannot begin to explain what is going on behind the scenes over here. It seems like between each chapter, I have one thing or another come up that I wouldn't say distracts me from, but prevents me from recording as often as I would like. Now, with any luck and a lot of effort, you shouldn't see this disruption. I think I started last chapter the same way, where I talked about a little bit of hesitancy to get back behind the mic, some nervousness after some life events had happened. This isn't why you're tuning into the show. I realize this. We got to talk about what happened today. I just want to let you know that, holy cow, I did not expect to be coming back to Chapter 38 the way that I am. Can you be more vague, Landon? I will try. I don't mean to be cryptic. There's just a lot going on over at the Gruntwork Podcast Network, a lot of things that are being reconfigured, and it's all good. It's all good stuff. Supporter Month is now closed, obviously. I know there is still some bonus content left to be published. I just thank your patience as we get everything underway. Your continued support and listening day in and day out is always appreciated and definitely helps in these times. So thank you. What's going on here today? We get a chapter called Rendezvous, The Rendezvous, and no idea what the rendezvous will be after coming off of chapter 37, where we had a few rendezvous-ish. They were rendezvous-esque. They were rendezvous-like. Now we have a rendezvous yet to be named. But I find it interesting that we are basically picking up right where we left off in chapter 37. Almost. I mean, they went back to the ball, Franz and Albert, after the events. What kind of attention do you think Albert milked out of that? What kind of danger was Albert actually in? I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Is Dante in complete control here? You know, there's this line that I find kind of interesting when the Count is, and I'm calling Dante the Count now, when Dante is responding to Albert, Albert is trying to explain how indebted he is to Dante, and Dante basically says, "Oh, no. In fact, you impressed me with your reaction to the whole situation, and, quote, you owe me nothing but some trifle of 20,000 francs, which you have been saved out of your traveling expenses." What a weird line. I mean, it's almost a nothing line if you're reading through this pretty quickly, but that line is doing a lot there. Let's break it down. Which you have been saved out of your traveling expenses. That is Dante saying, I saved you a shitload of money by giving you my carriage, by giving you my box seats at the opera, by giving you my window for the carnival. Uh, I won't say like passive aggressive, but he's not necessarily letting Albert forget what he's done for him. And then the 20,000 francs, which was part of what he had to add to the well, hold on. What is the 20,000 francs? Because it was all a misunderstanding regarding what Vampa was holding Albert for. He didn't actually pay that. Once Vampa found out that Albert was a friend of Dante's, he didn't still pay the ransom, right? So, unless I'm misunderstanding what that 20,000 francs is for, my thought was that was covering what Franz couldn't cover, and that's why he was going to Dante in the first place. Maybe I have that wrong. But my thought being, like, if you are trying to work your way in with somebody and they're talking about being forever indebted to you, like, there's a weird power play of going, I could easily just wave off the 20,000 francs. I mean, that is literally nothing to me. But still, like, saying, oh, all you really owe. Like, why is he reminding him of it if he doesn't need it, doesn't want it? Like, it's doing something very subtle. And in other circumstances, I would say it's like preserving the dignity of the person that um, owes you the money, and it's 20,000 francs might be a big deal versus the person who lent it to you who it isn't. Like, you want them to feel like they can pay their own way in life, that they aren't reliant on other people. There's a certain amount of decorum that comes with that. I don't know, but that line in its entirety jumped out at me. And it seems like one of these very subtle touches that Dante does to manipulate people. But let's see where this goes. Welcome to chapter 38. I'm excited to be here, be back behind the mic. I'm excited that you're listening. So join me here tomorrow. Okay, bye.